What's going on? How you doing? Top 10 Pokemon here. Today, I am bringing you a top 10 list. And this top 10 list will be the top 10 most iconic Pokemon cards ever made. Now, it's one thing to establish the top 10 most iconic and influential Pokemon, but it's another thing to try to narrow down the top 10 most iconic trading cards. Before we get started, please don't forget to give the video a like and to be a subscriber if you're not already, so I can keep bringing you more top 10 Pokemon card content. So I have narrowed down what I believe to be the top 10 most iconic / influential Pokemon cards of all time, with a few honorable mentions. Let's get started with what I believe to be the 10th most iconic card of all time, which is the first edition Lugia Holo from Neo Genesis. Now, Lugia was always considered Generation 2's Charizard, but the iconic aspect of this card really didn't take off until the year 2020-2021, when we started seeing this card graded go for some super insane numbers, officially putting it on the map as a must-have card. In PSA 10, this card reached the heights of $129,000, and as a BGS 10 Pristine example, sold for $144,000. And let's just say those sale prices turned some heads and got people thinking, well, maybe it isn't all about Charizard. Lugia has had many insane cards in its day, including the modern day Lugia V alternate art, which is also very, very popular, but this Lugia rookie card from Neo Genesis, I believe, will always be the most iconic, and it is number 10 on my list. Coming in at number 9 might be the very best Gold Star in all of Pokemon card creation, the Gold Star Rayquaza. This Gold Star Rayquaza not only had a really, really difficult pull rate, but it's also quite difficult to grade. A PSA 10 costs a pretty penny, folks. And although there's a lot of other very expensive and very popular Gold Star cards, none quite take the cake like this Gold Star Rayquaza, which is why I have it at the number 9 spot on my list. Coming in at number 8, we have a two-way tie between the base set Pikachu and the Jungle Pikachu card. I believe both these Pikachus are very, very recognizable. They are very iconic illustrations. If you didn't own the base set Pikachu when you were younger, you certainly own the Jungle one. Both cards have been graded so many times. Everybody wants these two Pikachus. They were considered the rookie cards. People will even pay an extra premium price if they can get their hands on the Red Cheeks variant of the base set Pikachu. The Jungle Pikachu in its day used to go for over $1,000 as a PSA 10. They are two very iconic Pokemon cards. The number 7 most iconic and also very influential Pokemon card is the Test Print Blastoise card that has sold for some staggering prices. Hundreds of thousands of dollars for the first variations of this card. This was the test card they used to convince executives of what kind of product they had brewing. Without this card, we might not have the Pokemon TCG as we know it today. So extremely influential. That's why I put this as number 7 on the list. Coming in at number 6, I had to put the first edition base set Machamp. This, back in the late 90s, was 9 times out of 10 the first holographic card you got your hands on because it came from the 2-player starter theme deck. The holo pattern on this card was so different from the other holos from that set. Everybody and their brother had a base set first edition Machamp, and they even brag about it to this day, saying they have a first edition base set Machamp, must be worth so much. Even though it usually is not, it's still very, very popular and the number 6 most iconic card. Coming in number 5 is a promo card, an Ancient Mew. Let me tell you what, folks, anytime I tell somebody that I'm into Pokemon cards or I sell them or what have you, they always bring up the Ancient Mew. They always say, I got this card, I'm not sure what kind of language it's in, looks like it's Egyptian, hieroglyphics or something, but I think it might be worth a lot of money. Which usually means it's the Ancient Mew promo.
Bryce. He returned to his house and gave up his own Pokemon collection as well as other cards he had stored.
There's only about 10 of these in the world.
Whoa.
I found it! The rarest card in the world! Ancient Mew.
This card was extremely iconic. It was unlike any other card we had seen at that time. Kids back in the day thought this card was like super duper rare, super valuable. I got an Ancient Mew, and their friend never even heard of it. It's like, oh, what is that? Yeah, super, super iconic. And a lot of people to this very day still believe this is like the rarest card ever made. It was not, but still Awesome, awesome card. Number 5, most iconic. Coming in number 4, I'm going to go out on a limb here and use a somewhat modern card. I'm going to say the Mario Pikachu cards are some of the most iconic Pokemon cards that have ever been made, because you have 2 of the most iconic characters ever on the same card. The Mario Pikachu cards and even the Mario Luigi cards are some of the most sought after cards. They're the most recognizable cards, and some very expensive cards at that. I couldn't help but put these 2 extremely iconic figures that have been meshed together on this list. This is the number 4 most iconic concept in Pokemon. Coming in number 3 is yet another modern card. I'm going to say that the Charizard GX, the SV49 card from Hidden Fates, is super iconic and very influential. The Sun and Moon era really didn't take off until we got to Hidden Fates. Everybody and their brother was after the Charizard SV49 GX card from Hidden Fates. And the value of this card really hasn't dropped when you compare it to everything else in this hobby lately. This card used to sell as a PSA 10 consistently for $1,000, and you can still sell one nowadays for like $800 to $900. Without a doubt, one of the most popular Charizards of all time. I put this at the number 3 spot on the list. The number 2 most influential card I'm going to say is the Pikachu Illustrator card. Now this card truly didn't go mainstream until we saw the acquisition of the PSA 10 example from Logan Paul, where he wore it at WrestleMania, showcased it on his YouTube channel, and really made this card mainstream and showed everybody just how valuable and just how rare this card was. And it's only fitting that Pikachu be on the most valuable and rarest card of all time. Before we get to the number 1 most iconic card that I'm sure you already know what it is, let's go over just a couple of honorable mention cards. We have to give a shout out to the base set Charmander. This card was printed so much, it was by far the most popular starter of all time. It's a very nostalgic card for everybody. It was reprinted in multiple sets, and yeah, it's pretty iconic. And we're also going to give a shout out to the Birthday Pikachu promo card. This card comes in all kinds of varieties. There's a Japanese version, an English version, a reprinted English version that came out in Celebrations. Definitely a very, very popular concept and a very iconic card, to say the least. Which brings me to the number 1 most iconic card ever made. Of course, it is the base set Charizard. Now, whether you are opening up a base set first edition box, unlimited, shadowless, base 2, Evolution, Celebrations, this Charizard card right here is always the main pull. The first edition base set Charizard is considered by most to be the holy grail of the Pokemon hobby. I'm not sure if there's any other card in all of the Pokemon TCG that's been reprinted more than this card. Everybody loves it. Everybody knows what it is, and it is the number 1 most iconic card ever. Thank you so much for watching. What are some iconic cards you would put on a top 10 list? Let me know in the comments. I am really looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks again for watching, folks. That's all I got for you. I'll catch you all in my next one.